I have my own hotline for reporting illegal immigrants, and people call it thinking that it's legitimate. I talked to a kindergarten teacher that wants to deport the parents of a kindergartner at her school. And it looks like they have a child who was born in New York, which makes them an American citizen.
Yeah.
So we're looking to deport the parents and leave the child.
Right. Like I said, I don't know if they're here illegally. I just think it's odd, you know? It's very odd.
What did you say was odd?
It's just odd for them to even be here. Like, I'm a teacher at a school. Okay, I know schools. I know the whole law about schools. I mean, they seem like nice people or whatever, but I looked them up in our files, and I was like, oh, she was born in Honduras, and he's born in El Salvador. So right there, it's like, okay, maybe I'm on the right path. You know, they drop off their kid every day.
So their kid is their kid a student at your school?
Yes. Yes.
One of your
kindergarten.
Okay, so now you want to get his parents deported?
Well, I'm just saying that if they're taking up resources from our county,
okay.
I'm not into illegal people being here.
I mean, if the son's in kindergarten, what, is 6 or 7, right?
Yeah, he's probably like 5 or 6.
And he was born in New York, so that means, assumingly, they've been in America for 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And now we're going to go ahead and just remove them.
Are you like questioning that, or what do you know?
Yeah. Sorry, no, I'm just writing this down for my own personal notes, and my supervisor teaches at school, wants kindergarten child's parents deported.
You make it sound terrible. You make it sound like it's terrible, but...
Oh, well, I'm just writing down what you're telling me.
Okay. Well, yeah, okay.
Sounds terrible. Let's see, I can write that down too, I guess. And that's Hispanic in an area where you wouldn't normally see Hispanics. Okay.
Right. Like people that are born in another country.
Yeah. Because you normally see those people where?
Like in the cities.
Got it. Okay. Hispanics out of place, now in country, not where they belong in city. So we were able to confirm that they are documented citizens along with their child.
Oh, good.
So yeah, it's good because we don't have to deport a 6-year-old. And yeah, I mean, you know, that little fella could have been a threat to our national security.
Why are you talking to me like this?
Say again?
Why do you talk to me like this?
I'm sorry, what are you referring to?
Like you're like sarcastic.
Oh, okay. I mean, I just thought that maybe you'd be okay and just happy that the people that you reported were actually here legally and that they belong. Just like you and me.
Did I talk to your supervisor? You said you had a supervisor.
Yeah, I just thought you were going to be happy.
Yeah, I am happy, but I'm not happy with your attitude. You just said to me, the 6-year-old won't be a threat to national security.
Yeah.
That's sarcastic.
I would think that the people that were deporting, especially 6-year-olds, that there would be a good reason for it.
I was talking about the people who I thought they're illegal because they were born in a different country. I can't help that they have a 6-year-old. That's on them.
You know what we'll do? I'll get in touch with the supervisor. I send him a text. When he gets back to me, I'll see if he can follow up with you and this.
And what is his name?
His name is Brian. But yeah, thought you'd be happy to know that they're documented, but we'll have the follow-up.
I am happy. I'm super happy. Super happy. I'm glad. You know, that's wonderful.
Well, it's good. You know, the 6-year-old can stay in the school, and you know, I know it's tough looking at him. And but yeah, we'll get on my supervisor. Just he can give you a call back in a little bit. My understudy here said you were having some issues with him about some out of place Hispanics.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
You sound exactly like Greg. Okay. I just didn't like his attitude.
I really do apologize for that. Looks like Brian said we did confirm the document status of these individuals, and we're happy we were able to do that for you despite the sarcasm and the things that you're complaining about.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that they're fine folks and belong here and all that good stuff. But he was criticizing me because there was a 6-year-old boy involved. You know what I mean? But he's acting like I'm this terrible person because I'm going to deport a 6-year-old. And in fact, he goes today, because a 6-year-old would be a threat to national security.
As the title says, kindergarten teacher wants kindergarten deported. So,
yep,
this is a great title. And it's a lot to go into right here because there's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. Is she wrong? What she did, the call, all of that stuff. We're going to get into it. So, P, what's your opening thoughts on this one right here?
It's bold. It's bold. Now I understand her, and she's doing her civil duty. You know, I don't think she's doing anything wrong.
Okay.
The guy, I think he's the one that I feel like is really brave, like, because he is way out of place. You know, even though it was a fake call, he still was kind of nasty towards her because she picked up on it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to figure out what was the reason for that, because he just could have done his experiment and just let it go. But I'm assuming by the end of this call, she figures out that he's not really who he says he is, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. But a lot of people, I guess, when I look at it, because I can look at it from both sides, they're upset because they feel like a kindergarten should get a pass. You know what I'm saying? But the status is a status.
Okay. So my thoughts on this is I got mixed feeling in certain parts of it, right? I could see where the empathy card is playing because he's 6 years old, right? I could understand. I definitely could understand. But it made me also think, do the schools play a role in this? Listening to this video made me now think, are the schools playing a role in this?
In what?
In the sense of, it's a damn good question. And should the schools be,
as far as reporting them?
well, not reporting them. So the education system is what ties a lot of immigrants to the town that they live in.
True.
So while listening to this, it made me think, hey, is the school a big part of immigration? Even though we know people come here to work and everything.
It has to be, because in order for you to advance as a community, as a nation, education is very important.
Right.
You know, even because you got to look at it like this, right? Even if immigrants come in, they're gonna get an opportunity to naturalize at some point. So you still have to allow them to learn and get better with the society that they are living in now.
Okay.
So I guess you can say the school is a part of it.
So if the school is a part of it, should they have a bigger role? Because I know their role right now. Their role
What do you mean a bigger role in what?
In this situation, in the immigration,
as far as
immigration reform.
Well, for instance, the school has protection about children, like when it comes to revealing where families live and stuff like that. So the school has that protection already.
Yeah, it's called FERPA. You know what I'm saying? You got to protect. I understand, but what I'm trying to get at is, I like the protection because I understand no one should be in fear going to school that they're going to get removed from the country. So I do understand that portion, but I know I can't have it both ways. But when I was younger, I like it because I could understand how it protect kids. But then again, now that I'm older, I see it as a shelter as well.
Well, we all know that. You know, like I remember I was talking to mom, your auntie, and she was saying, you know, it's so horrible that they're using the kids in the school to do this and do that. And I'm like, you know, it is a bad thing, but at the same time, they doing their job.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks to see it happen, but when it does happen, you kind of got to just move on and be like, they got you. You know, it may sound horrible, but that's just the way it works out sometimes. Now, if it works out, you may get an opportunity to stay here. Somebody may sponsor you, but at that point, you know, it's over.
I think the reason, and I always hear my father in my head, you know, he's a contrarian. He will always have these where you'll be thinking like logical, and this dude come with some contrary stuff where you be like, and he makes you rethink a lot. It's like you probably might be like, well, what about?
Man, I keep telling you, man, I got to start recording our conversations at me and him.
Yeah,
because when I say certain shit to him, he be like, "What?" And then he do the same thing.
Yeah, you listen to him talk, and you be like, all right, you got a valid point. But getting back to this is when I'm thinking, I hear him in my head talking sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But as we go through this, I'm like, I had to go a little bit deeper. And I think the school, I probably might be predicting something. I'm not no Nostradamus or anything like that.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I think that's going to be the next places they're going to start attacking is the school.
Well, here's the thing. They can't really attack the school because the school already have that protection. Now, the only way
I push
that
back
happens is if they take it to the Supreme Court.
True, but let me tell you how they're using the schools already.
Okay, I'm listening.
So, depending on what school you go to, like Glastonbury, you live out there.
So you say, does it have to do with public or?
Yep. So it's based on let me paint my picture so you get it, right? So there's I don't think there's a name for it, but if you don't live in the right zip code, you can't go to the school.
Right.
So if like you live in a nice area, Glastonbury, he live in a bougie area. Right?
Yeah.
But Glastonbury High has a certain area code, which is predominantly, they do have black people out there, but they have some Glastonbury, Glastonbury schools are in a high bracket. I could say that, right there. And you have like the other elite schools in Connecticut, like the boarding schools and all of those things. You have to be in a certain area code to go to their private, not their private, their public schools, or you got to have money to go to their private schools.
Right.
You know, right. Because that's where most of the politicians send their schools is to boarding schools in Connecticut. So if you don't have the right zip code, you can't go to that school. Most high populated inner city schools, and the only thing that changed, that had me change my mind slightly, is magnet schools. Magnet schools, it's no longer about your zip code, but we're going to put everybody together in a magnet school, but you need to win the lottery.
Right.
And I think that's why they started doing some of these things. I could be wrong. This is an assumption, but I think I don't want to use the word segregate, but I think that's a way to keep certain people out of certain schools. Because,
well, yeah, it's a fact, because you had to take a test and apply to get in.
Well, these are not tests. They based on zip code.
You just don't place you there because they're moving you along. You know, because Kayla got into one. You know, Jay got into one.
The magnet schools, the magnet school, but those are a collective of everyone from every town.
Right. But what I'm saying, though, is like, okay, all the magnet schools that they have in Connecticut, even though then CC went to one too, right?
All of them, yeah.
Right. So they all like have special things that they do.
True.
And that was one thing that I like. So if you're a kid and they say, hey, 12, this school right here will be more suitable for you because it has stuff to do with architecture, and it's so you're gonna go to that magnet school and get the best out of it, right? So the people that don't want to deal with that, you don't have to force them to be there.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, and these are things like back home, when kids pass common entrance, they go on to a specific learning. The rest take school leaving. They have other things that they do. They go on a trade. But you know that as an early age, you know, you don't just keep sticking them in the class and moving them along. When these kids are pushing back and these kids over here like, yo, You got any extra books I could read this weekend? I'm bored. You know what I'm saying? You got 5 kids who are like, man, I can't wait for the weekend. You know, and that's how I kind of look at it.
Because I do see this. I was able to sit in a classroom, in a college classroom, and I seen people from different walks, and this was a question. That's why I have this assumption of mine. It's not like a cold theory. There was like 20 people in all walks of life, and we brought up that conversation, and it went like, hey, the school checked to see your address like twice a year, because what is like this. Parents would write an address on the entry form, and the kids would forget sometimes, like, oh, where you live, or they would have the teachers ask them certain questions. Hey, so where do you live? You got to remember, once you're in class and you hang around your friends, sometimes you let your guard down and you forget. You know what I'm saying? I can't say I live in Hartford when I know I'm going to East Hartford School.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, tell me about what you did over the summer. You know what I'm saying? Certain stuff like that. So when you hand in these reports and you basically, they're getting you to tell on yourself so you could then be removed from these schools. I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong, but I definitely see schools kick kids. I see school kids kids out because they live in a different zip code. The reason why I went to this to get back to the main subject was this is a kind of the same tactic they're using, or would this be a same tactic they use to keep migrants out of the school? Because I know they get money for migrants too. I know they get money to get migrants, the food, the government assistance, all of that. All of that is money making business. So I definitely do understand that too.
So the thing is too that's weird about the video is that one, it seemed like that kid stuck out like a sore thumb, and they were in the wrong school system. You know what I'm saying? So whoever sponsored them live in a higher end area, it seems like.
Yep.
Now, if he was living in the city, where everybody in the city
exactly
is Black and Hispanic, and he would have been more protected.
Yes.
You know, so whoever could be sponsoring them probably, you know, living in a higher bracket.
That I would give that some credence. I definitely give it, but also knowing some teachers, right? Let me give you an underlying story. Is probably this kid is not fully acclimated where he speaks full English.
Right. Well, there was a comment or something there about not learning how to speak English.
Right. So it makes her job harder because now the parents drop him off to school and the kid don't speak Spanish, and it's probably messing up our numbers.
So let me ask you this: so so this kid is in her class.
Well, I'm assuming it doesn't necessarily need to be.
Oh, okay.
Because this was an issue.
Context to it.
So do you remember we ran into that issue where it was in Pennsylvania, where we going back a year, where we had a whole bunch of influx of people from different countries like Haiti, then they speak Creole, and they had to, the school board or the school system had to hire a whole bunch of people to support these people, and it was additional resources, and the system was getting boggled down trying to help the ones that just came in, because you know what I'm saying, and the whole thing is like it just went from English to like speaking Creole. I would say I've seen something similar to this with Spanish speaking or bilingual students, right? But we know Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizenships. But once you start going to Ecuador, Panama, all these places other than Puerto Rico and Mexico coming into the school, you have an influx of different people, right?
Cultures, they're not close.
Now you got to reinforce the school with a whole bunch of bilingual people to now aid these people. Two things that happens here, right? Now, as you're the local, so like let's say I'm gonna call it exactly how it is. It's the same thing in inner city. In inner city, you do not see predominantly Black people in Black schools. in inner cities, you're going to find predominantly more white people teaching in minority schools, right?
Yep.
It's far and few you're going to see minorities people teaching in thing, because they have the degree or the credentials to fill these positions. So it's not about, oh, because they white. Nope, I'm gonna call it down the line. It's because they have the right credentials. You got to play the game to win. If you got the papers, you gonna get that job, right? So that's all it is. Most of them went to school, they did their time, and I agree with this, right? I just got to make that disclaimer. So I'm like, not because it's not because they're white, because they have the credentials. You know what I'm saying? They studied, they went to school, they got the credentials. You know what I'm saying? If you ever feel that, oh, because it's no, cut that shit out. There's a game you play. You got to have that paper. If you don't got the paper, you're not getting that position. You can scream, I'm black, I'm black, I'm black, I'm black all day long. You still ain't going to get the job. You know what I'm saying? You got to go get them papers. So with most of these people filling these positions, they run into the dilemma of like correlating with the kids that I'm speaking perfect English. These kids are speaking Ebonics or Spanish. Now, does that teacher now qualify for that position, right? Because now these kids are bilingual, or they're speaking broken English. Right. Now, in order for me to do my job, the school didn't teach me to speak Spanish or speak broken English, where I could really revive a student from where he is to the standard student that comes in speaking proper English, right? Or whatever we call proper English, right? My job is now twice as hard. Yep. So that gives people of different ethnicity an opportunity to come in and do these jobs.
Yeah.
Right?
So they basically created a new market.
Exactly. And this is where my thinking is coming from. Now you have these people, and now the standard people that are normally in the schools, like majority white or mainly more American people, are being diluted with bilingual people that are immigrants.
Well, you can't even say diluted, because
no, I'm just saying diluted is not the right, but it's being over. Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
I think they're gonna get pushed out.
Exactly. All right, pushed out is a better word. So
it's not diluted, because when you think about it, what's going to happen is you're going to have two people doing the same job. You know?
Exactly. Well, one person that could do, same thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
So let me land it and bring it full circle. So now you have these people. Now you have a clear divide. My job is being taken by people that are bilingual or naturalized citizens that come from these same countries, that the empathy card could relate to their kind, right? And I'm on the other side, and I'm a US born citizen, and I'm getting pushed out. What would you do?
Well, you could tuck your tail and run, or you can stand up and put your foot down and live your life.
And this is where it brings me back to this teacher. You get what I'm trying to say? This is where it brings me right back to this teacher. It's not about racism, right? And I had to learn this hard lesson as a Black man. It's not about racism. Yes, we live in a country where we say a melting pot, right?
Yeah.
Everyone from Polish, England, Russian, Ukrainian, West Indians, Jamaican, Africans, whatever, right? What people are starting to forget is, you might be 1 year removed, 2 year removed from your thing, but you're a citizen, right? I am for legal migration. I'm for all of that stuff, right? But you got to remember, somebody's getting pushed out. In that bigger wheel, somebody is getting pushed out. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the thing is too, like the crazy because you could be here waiting for your stuff to go through, things sitting on pending, like there's
for years
process going on, and they could grab you and just deport you, even though you ain't got nothing wrong with you. So the thing is, a lot of times, like we all came here legally, and we all talked about that, but sometimes these people are here illegally, but their papers are still being processed.
All right, so that's the misnotion.
You know what I'm saying? So what I mean is, like, for instance, how the guy, even though it was a joke, he said, I just wanted to let you know we checked their immigration status and it was good. You know what I mean? So it's just like once they know you're in the country and your status got to be somewhere.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because they allow you to stay. But if these are people who are here illegally, totally without even being documented yet, then they had it coming. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing you can do about that. But what the administration pushes and talks about the most is that they're deporting criminals and thugs and thieves. And a lot of times you don't know if it's true. Nobody really goes and checks, because if they're here illegally, then, well, you got caught. You know, you might have not been doing nothing, but you got caught. So you got to go back. So I don't see a lot of people out here fighting for it too much. Well, some people are, because we saw a couple of unalivings and stuff go down. But the majority of the people is like, you know, they don't push back too much.
On which side? Push back on which side? Staying or going?
On fighting over keeping undocumented workers, from basically stop them from getting deported.
They have. I've seen a lot of videos where they have.
Yeah. I mean, there's a fight, but the thing is, it's like once, because people are getting grabbed every day.
So what I was going to say was, there's a fight, but there's also a fine. If you have a whole bunch of undocumented people at your plant, you could get fined.
You should.
So they had that big one out there in oh man, I can't remember the town. It's like Wisconsin, one of those weird places where it was like farming thing, and he had like over 80 or 90 people in his plant.
Yeah,
yo, they were running. I'm talking about they were running, hiding in the plants, hiding on shelves, hiding. Ice ran up in there. People were hiding in corners in the back of crates.
Somebody sold them out.
You know what I'm saying? And the owner, he was unaware, or he played that role of unaware, where they were getting these people and none of these people were documented.
Well, here's what happened, right? Like, you will get there's a company or something that will basically hire people and get them temp jobs. So the company that hired the undocumented workers file paperwork for these people. So when they go to work for a company like that, they're not actual employees of the company. They're employee of another company that sent them out as agencies, temp agencies. So that's why you never really see a lot of these companies getting hit with anything, because once they're not employees, they're like more like
temps. Contractors, temps.
Right. So they call them temps or private contractors. Like when I worked for Amazon and I delivered, I was a private contractor. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that's why a lot of companies don't get hit. And you look that way, I look that way, quid pro quo. These what it is.
So they do have programs. So let's talk about some of the stuff that people don't talk. People always talk about the good and the bad. So there are programs for people that are not from this country to work. So they got like work ready programs or stuff like that, where you can come to this country and work. So that's one of the misnotion people always like, no, they do have programs. You just got to go through the right channel. So it's like this: you can come work for a company and not have any kind of status. They do have these work ready programs where you got to go through the right channel. You got to file with I think it's the federal government or something like that, and they give you a work. I can't remember the right terminology, but they give you a document saying that you could work. So these are things that I got to clarify so people can know. It's not only saying, oh, this person shouldn't be here. There are ways, if you're in the country and you don't have your papers, there are ways and certain companies that hire individuals like as such, where you just got to go through the right process and work. Because I know there are top companies like I think they call it like N90 or whatever. These are people that are not American citizens from other countries. And they got to get approved by the government. Like if that paper run out, they got to leave the country for like a month or two, wait for the U.S. government to approve their paper, then come back to work. I've seen many people from India, I've seen from China, where they work for top places in America and they're not citizens. You know what I'm saying? And they got it. It's like this. There's like, oh, where this person at? Oh, he had to go back, but he be back in about 3 weeks. You know, dude don't have no citizenship, none of that. You know what I'm saying? And they work, they make big money. You know what I'm saying? But that's what
that's usually what it is. These people are like CEOs, and so they move around to different places.
Engineers and doctors and stuff like that. Yep.
Yeah, usually it's just for business. But yeah, and those were a lot of people, like the situation that happened in the plant in Georgia, the Hyundai plant. Was it Georgia?
Yep.
No, North Carolina.
That one was a mixed thing though. That one was a
but it was the same thing where they all were on that one of those visas type thing, and the lady called it in. You know, that one kind of backfired.
Yeah, that one definitely backfired. I think if they went through the right channel, it would make sense. Because I think because if you're transferring from one country to a next, companies always do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, I'm gonna bring an English-speaking crew to, let's say, Mexico, and teach the people in Mexico how to build the parts. Once I teach them how to build the parts, then we start laying off some of the. Well, we start retaking some of these things and filling in these positions, so Mexico plant could run independently on their own. Exactly. And I've seen stuff like that where people will go to other countries, and that's the same process that they were trying to do. And like the lady said, oh, they immigrants, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because
they basically came to set it up.
Exactly.
And once they set it up, they were supposed to start training people from North Carolina to work there.
Yep.
And so basically they go around just setting up places. They like installers. And that's a diplomatic problem too between countries.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because what the way it went down was horrible.
So way how I see all of this is, I think they're going to start using the school in a way depending on the administration.
I think they're already using the school.
I don't think they're using it effectively.
They're not right. They're not using it in the way that we think they will. Like literally actually go and access files, stuff like that. But like I said, the schools are, especially the public schools, mostly are protected by a certain law. So I don't think they could do whatever they want. You know, we've seen that during this administration, but I just feel like that's probably going to be the only safe haven.
I don't think so. It's a trap. It's a trap. I'm going to tell you why. So I'm going to give you two analogies and bring it back to why that lady pointed out. To me, I see the holes in the system. It's either I see the holes or the pitfalls or whatever. And this, let me tell you, there's no way, or this lady is showing people how to fight for their community. So if you're in support of ICE and you're an educator, this is an excellent tool, right? Because guess what? As an educator, you need access to the files and the students that's in your class. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yep.
And if you're and now I get it why in Minnesota and all of that, they trying to make that big push to keep ICE out the schools, because I was like, why are they doing that? Because guess what? Because they know some people in the school do have access to records. So if you have access to records, I don't necessarily need to report the kid, right? Mm-hmm. All I just need to know is the information of the parents. You get what I'm trying to say? That's all I really need to do, because you really can't retract the student's information or the parents, because you got to call home. You got to be able to have that rapport with mom and dad, because that's your job. Because if they were telling you like some of these classes, like, hey, if like I'm taking some of these classes, Pete. If a student is not being well maintained and something like that,
Right.
you could report them. You could kind of report the parents.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it verbatim. I'm just kind of
Yeah,
paraphrasing.
you can.
You can report the parents, right?
Yeah.
So
it's just like if a kid come to school malnourished or whatever.
Yeah, or you know what I'm saying, or get butt whoopings, or did he state something that that teacher, I don't know if it's mandated or he has the obligation to report it. You get what I'm saying? And I think if he doesn't too, it kind of goes against the individual for not even reporting it as well. So that's what I'm saying. The school plays a big part in this, but the teacher herself, I'm not mad at the teacher. I'm not mad at the teacher. I can see what a lot of people would be mad at the teacher, but I'm not mad at her, because I could understand her position. I could understand her position. You know?
Yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking up some stuff, and in cities like Fort Worth, San Antonio, Baltimore, they had a couple of social media posting where the teachers were tagging ICE in their post, and basically letting them know that ICE is in there to come to their schools,
Okay.
whatever they're teaching, and a couple of them were basically suspended at the time, but yeah, it's a thing that's went on all over the country.
Yeah, I think that's where the next fight is going to be held, is on the premises of school and that information, because with more push for bilingual, and I definitely think you should have, you like, be successful, you should know at least two or more language.
So look, it says the teacher specifically wrote, I have many students who don't speak English. Y'all should come to Northside High School. Another pre-K kindergarten teacher in San Antonio was investigated for similar comments about grades. So, yeah, so it's like, when we came to this country, we were fortunate enough to speak English. And even us, like me personally, because I got here before you did. I got here in 87. So when I came here in 87, there weren't a lot of West Indians. So even for us, we stood out like a sore thumb.
Definitely.
Much less coming to this country not knowing how to speak English and putting it in a worse situation, because they stick out. And I remember when we were in school, they had Spanish classes where the classes was Hispanic. And then they kind of did away with that. So what started happening was most of the Spanish kids went to a Spanish school, which was in the city. But what's happening here is, like she said, like, now, if the kids don't speak English, right? Does the parents speak English?
No, because I grew up with students. I grew up with my peers or classmates where their parents ain't speak a lick of English. Boy, their kids were signing papers from reading papers. And they were reading. I'm like, yo.
So let me ask you this, because you're in the school system, right? How do you accept people into your school system that doesn't speak the language, knowing you don't have the ability to teach them? Like, how does that work?
My point. So I'm not in early education
okay, it ain't about early education, because it could be at any time. But
well, that's what I'm saying.
Like say you go to apply to enter a school system, right? You go down to, is it Board of Ed?
Yep.
Where do you go? Right. So
I'm not in that portion. I'm in adult learning.
no, I know you are. I know you are. But you're in school as far as education wise.
Yep.
You're in that mix. So just put on your superintendent hat for a minute. You're a superintendent of a district, wherever that is. That's in 12 world. You know what I'm saying? When you get a kid that comes to sign up and they tell you the kid doesn't speak English, knowing you don't have any teachers in your district that speak Spanish, not even the lunch lady speaks Spanish. How are you accepting the child and telling the parent you're going to teach them when you're not prepared for that?
So one thing I would definitely say is resources. So the government do pay for bilingual teachers.
Right. I believe that.
So not necessarily that no one speaks English.
So here's the thing. This teacher, the lady that complained about the kid, right? Just say he's the only Spanish kid in the school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they fund, maybe next year they may get funded, or the year after down the road as they apply for it. But right now there is zero. She doesn't speak any Spanish. There's a Spanish-speaking kid in her class that speaks nothing but Spanish. Who let him in? Did he sneak through the door?
All right. Because so the question is, so this is the misnotion we got to clear up. Who says Spanish-speaking people are the only one that knows how to speak Spanish?
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
But you got to break it down to, all right, we're saying a whole school.
Well,
I know a lot of people. So it's
because think about it, right? No Spanish people lived in that area. You don't have to have anything other than English. But if a flux of people come in and they're trying to survive, they have to learn the language of what's there. But to be proactive, if you can find people that speak bilingual language, it would help the communication of the community, of people getting along, understanding each other. But
true.
I just don't see, like, for instance, okay, you can't blame the teacher because the kid showed up on their doorstep in their classroom, and you're asking the teacher to teach a kid that doesn't understand what she's saying.
Right. So let me put it like this, right? So this is something that it's not new to schooling. When you're applying for a school, they ask you if the person speaks English or not, right?
Right. I'm not saying that they don't do that.
No, well, let me say they place them. Now they will place you because I know all right. Let's take it off of Spanish speaking people. What do they do for the kids that come from Russia, Germany, China, and other places? They place them in a school that they would meet the kid expectation, because yes, not everybody comes to this country speaking English, right? And even though you're born in a household, your parents might speak certain language.
So here's the thing, and I see it happen a lot. A lot of these parents teach their kids English before they start coming to school, at least with most of the other cultures that come in here. Most of the other languages, like when they're Russian or whatever, they teach them how to speak English. A lot of the cultures. So when they get to school, their other language might be a little terrible, but they're learning English.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like when we did the video the other day on the live one where the girl graduated from the Hartford school not knowing how to read or write or do anything. She's suing the school. And
that was a good example.
She couldn't even spell her name.
And she was a Spanish speaking student.
Right. But what I was saying was, if you can't spell your name, that's the parents failing the children. Because as a parent, the first thing you teach your kids is their ABCs and how to read and write, how to spell their name. That's a parent's job. After that, it's on the teachers. But you teach a kid how to spell their name, how to write it. And she didn't even know that. It didn't seem like it was. And if she's bilingual, because she spoke English and Spanish, if she didn't know how to do it in English, she should know how to do it in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So the parents, to me, is what's failing these kids, because if you start teaching them at home, they're going to learn.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the Board of Ed is also failing it, because they not preparing the teacher. Like, yo, at some point, you're going to let the teacher know, hey, there's a Spanish kid coming in, and we don't have nothing, but have something ready.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. That's why I agree with you. The funding for these kids in the sense of teachers' aid is like this. So now, what used to be a typical standard job for just Americans is no longer typical. That typical is now gone. It's bilingual.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you this. As a school system, right? Kid comes to you. We don't know what the situations are. This is, we just allegedly speaking. By the way the laws are set up, do you have to accept the kid?
I don't know. I don't know about the
because just like you said, this is all possibly going through immigration as well, right?
Yeah.
So when a kid comes into a community, what does the kid have to do to not get in? Because
I think English is one, or you go to an alternative school that has the right support to nurture the kid. You know what I'm saying? So like, let me tell you, we're blaming the school. Let's take it off the school for a second, right?
I'm blaming the parents.
Well, I'm putting on the parents right now. This is the other point of view. Growing up, we know where the bad schools are. I'm going to use that example. We know where the bad schools are. So based on the bad school, we're not going to send our kids to that bad school. We're going to take it up on ourselves to vet the good schools.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, growing up is like this. When we were growing up in Hartford, right? By the time we hit 7th grade, they were telling us about what high school to go to and which one not to go to.
Yep.
Some kids just grow up and just go to whatever is there. Yeah. That's if the town has the capability for that. But we already knew it had so much high schools that we know, and it was breaking down based on demographics. The Spanish kids went to this school, which was like Buckley. Everybody know all the Spanish kids went to Buckley. Then again, when you went across there, the demographics was Buckley, but that demographic changed. You know what I'm saying? It was predominantly certain kids went to this school, certain kids, and it's like everybody knew what school they go to. So if you wanted a Spanish-speaking school, you went to that school. But when I looked and I went to Buckley was diverse.
Yeah.
That notion that they were telling us, they had white people at Buckley. You know what I'm saying? They had everything at Buckley. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we were coming from the hood. We didn't know about all that. We know about blacks and Spanish until we got of age and you started going in like, they told us it was only Spanish people here. They got white people, we got black people, we got Spanish people. It's like they lied to us. You know what I'm saying?
Well, once you start playing sports and then you understand where Buckley sits at, and you're gonna be like, oh.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of Spanish people around that area.
Yeah. Because when I played football, swimming, baseball, you see all the different athletes on the team. But
yeah, it was diverse. It had people from Bosnia and all of that. It was diverse.
But the thing with all of those schools though is they're all inner city schools.
Yeah, that's inner city. Yeah.
Like they accepted anyone. But it seemed like the inner city schools were set up for a lot of that,
And that's what I'm trying to say.
But I think because I remember when we had a couple of friends that went to school in Glastonbury, and one of the girls, Monica, she had a exchange student that came and lived with them from another country. I think it might have been Sweden or one of those countries. But she came and started learning English and everything. And most of them, when they come here, they learn the language so they can communicate with everyone. But you find a lot of these countries like that where they come here and the parents don't want to learn, the kids don't learn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying the kids don't want to learn, they aren't taught, but going back to the lady, the teacher, I'm sure she's stressed out,
Mm-hmm.
Because it breaks your heart, like when you sitting there trying to teach somebody and they can't communicate with you because y'all not speaking the same language. And then her knowing that if she slows down to teach him, the rest of the class is going to suffer.
That's what I'm trying to say, because they got to go through it with speaking Americans that's coming from the hood. What up, Net?
Yeah,
kids in the class talking about
with regular English speaking knuckleheads.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? They gotta get through where little kids in the class talking about, she got a got, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So, and we're not paying a brush for all of them. We're just saying they do have some kids that go to school that is just, they come from a broken home.
They can't wait to go to school to teach somebody shit.
You know what I'm saying? So
wait to go to school to call somebody up,
A lot of the stuff you got to blend in. You can't stick out. You know what I'm saying? So, and if you have so much of these people in your class, it kind of slows it down. And these are the things where I watch videos and I seen stuff on how they handle these kids. Now they got classes teaching all people, not specific people, but all people, how to handle your class. Is like, hey, if you have a mixed class, if you have minorities and all of these things, how to approach them. Because I'm not going to go into the stats of those videos, but it's certain ways that these teachers have to approach these students, so. But going back to the overarching thing is, at the end of the day, I think the school has a big part in this. I think the school has a big part in this. And I think that person, even though she called a hotline trying to do thing, I think she's exposing a bigger thing, a bigger part. I don't know. I can't say how. I just feel, because I got a little bit of thing. I don't have no teacher degree or anything like that. But for like K through 12, but I specialize in other areas. But well, let me not say that. Look at me on that thing of myself. But yes, let's skip over that. But
let us know down in the comments, how do y'all feel about this situation? Because I mean, I'm not blaming her. I'm not sure what the teacher confidentiality situation is. She could be breaking some laws as a teacher.
Nah. Because you remember, you can't be breaking the law if ICE is asking you to be a good citizen. That is like this. You got two roles.
Well,
when I'm at work,
I know there's a protective student loss or whatever. I didn't really get a chance to look it up.
So that's when you're in school. FERPA only protects. So FERPA protects you. So all right. So let's break it down like this, right? So FERPA protects the kids' personal information, not just kids. Protects students and people's private information. So FERPA definitely protects all of that, right? And I can see where she's breaking FERPA. So she is breaking the law. Let me restate that. So she is breaking the law because they're entrusting you with this information, because I got to go through the same thing. They're entrusting you with this information. Yeah.
And that's why I said I don't think that ICE would directly go into the schools, because they'll be challenging basically a court ruling.
So, but the thing I was going to say is her strategy of the parents. If you go to the parents, I don't think she should have brought up the kids and that she was a teacher, because now the onus is on her, because she outed herself in some ways.
Right. So that's what the video was mostly exposing, her as a teacher. You know what I mean? Because she signed something saying, now I believe she could lose her job over something like that, or get suspended through the school.
So this is what I get from a quick search, right? It says in Connecticut, the rule when a student doesn't speak English, Connecticut must enroll students first. No school district in Connecticut can refuse to enroll the students because they do not speak English. As the following federal law of the United States Federal Education Department, United States Department of Education, and the state policy, Connecticut requires a home English survey. When student apply, the parents must fill out at home English survey. The survey shows that the student speaks the language other than English at home. The school must screen the students. You see, so there's a law.
Mm-hmm.
There is a law, and I think one of those laws got changed when Trump got back into power because he said English is the number one language. English is the main language of the land. So I think that's why they had to change it to accommodate this. But it's something that I got to look into to see what does the U.S. Department of Education say. The United States Department of Education is the federal executive department responsible for establishing policies and establishing programs related to education through the United States. It doesn't tell me. I'm just trying to read through it. Founded in 1980, blah, blah, blah. Jimmy Carter. I'm looking for the policy. Let me see if I can find the policy.
Another thing that just came out, I think in Florida, while you look that up, it said now that the driving test is going to be.
Yeah, that makes sense. The road signs are in English.
So that's something that's changing big.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, but there's a lot of people living in this country that's been here for 15, 20 years that still can't speak English.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I'm against any of what's going on.
So you see, so it kind of do make sense. And I got to look into it, guys. I am not like 100% the right person or the right person with authority to speak on this because, but think about it. Hear what the law is saying. They cannot refuse a student if he doesn't speak English, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if a student is not being refused, so that's putting it on me, teaching someone like, here, I'm in America and I got to teach someone that speaks German.
So somebody basically draw the short straw?
Exactly. Only thing I'm going to be in the classroom saying, nine. You know what I'm saying? So.
But here's the thing, though. I think don't kill me in the comments, but I just still think that every other nationality, when they come here, they try to teach their kid English before they get into the school system.
Yeah, and that's what they said. You got to start it at home.
When it comes to a lot of these Hispanic people, they don't. It's just the opposite.
Because I think I agree. Because when you say Hispanic, you got to clarify because
I'm talking. They were from El Salvador.
Okay, well that's different. Because remember, Puerto Ricans are American citizens. I know you know that, but
I'm not talking about Puerto Ricans.
Yeah, so they could be here, they could be here, not
Hispanics. Yeah, they come here. I mean, you talking about Venezuelans, we talking about Colombian. You don't really hear much about Brazil, but a lot of Brazilians are here too. And they don't even speak Spanish. Most of them speak Portuguese. Yeah, and that's what I kind of mean. Like, you see it a lot. Even a lot of the Asians that come here, a lot of them learn to speak English. They know when they're about to make that journey. Those are things they start learning before they even get here.
So the state provides, it's mandatory for the state. So that makes sense because I remember back in the days, they used to have certain schools for certain things, but I could be wrong because I know certain people went to certain school for that.
But there was a time.
Yeah.
Right. There was a time where, well, you know what? We had bilingual programs at Weaver as well.
Right. Because to support the West Indian community. Yep.
No. I'm talking about the Spanish.
Well, but it also had it for West Indian people too.
Right, but it wasn't
that big though. It wasn't that big.
Before, like, okay, when I came through in the 80s, so I'm talking 89, I got to Weaver in 91. 91 or 92, they used to have the all Spanish bilingual program in the high school.
Right, that's true. That's true.
And then they moved it to Buckley. I think most of all the Spanish kids ended up going to Buckley and Hartford High. But I think most of them ended up at Buckley. So what they did was they moved all the bilingual kids to Buckley, because what they found out was most of them live on that side anyway. And in that Weaver community was mostly black people. West Indians lived over there, you know. So they kind of, I guess, changed the demographics of the students. It was like it all happened in like a 2-year thing. And then mostly all the Hispanics that couldn't speak English was out of Weaver.
And that support my point where I was talking about when we were growing up, everybody knew what school, what speak it, like if you were Spanish.
Right, but we still had Spanish kids.
Yeah, you did, because they were fluent in English. Yep, they were fluent in English. Yeah,
right.
So they could go to any school because they were fluent. But what I was going to say was, when we were going to middle school and we went to Fox, right? Fox had a bilingual class, but it was for West Indian kids. So these communities.
But you know what happened too, though? I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm now thinking about it. Most of the kids, the Spanish kids that ended up staying, was Puerto Rico.
Yeah, then that's what I'm trying to show you.
And it kind of filtered out all the other Spanish speakers.
Yeah, it filtered out all of the, and that's what I'm trying to say. So it's like, yo, if you didn't speak English, you went to a certain school, and that's where you had like certain West Indians, they couldn't go to certain schools. If you weren't really fluent, you weren't going to a Buckley or whatever, because now you can. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is, it would force you to go to
because what they kind of did too was that they pushed the bilingual teachers there as well.
Right. So they're fully accommodated in one facility.
Because you ran track against Buckley before, right?
Yeah.
Like I've went to, like, okay, for me, when we did swimming, it was a little more intimate. So you kind of was enclosed. And when we went to Buckley, felt like we were in Puerto Rico or Spain or somewhere. It was, you know, and it was constantly, even when you walked around the school, things were in Spanish.
Yeah.
You know, so I definitely feel that.
But now let's go back to kindergarten. Now, when you go to these schools, man, they got all the language up on the wall. They got it in everything. They got flyers going out and everything. And now that was the whole push. Now the whole push is, we're not going to refuse students. And that's what I'm saying. The schools play a big part in this, because, hey, if we, and this is where my takeaway going to be. This is mine. If we could mix the, I want to word it right because I don't want to sound insensitive. If we could mix if we could mix them up with the regular natural folks, we're going to have a hard time getting them out. You know what I'm trying to say? Because they're already acclimated. You already know, you know what I'm saying? Because that's not how it was with us when we were growing up. Bro, if you didn't know how to think, you had to go to that bilingual class. You had to go to that bilingual class. The bilingual class teach you how to speak this. You know, you had to go. So while everyone was going to regular English class, if you were West Indian, you had that West Indian English teacher upstairs. You know what I'm saying? You had that. You was in there probably like 2 hours. They used to call, you know, some of the American kids back in the days was like, oh, y'all going to handicap class. I don't want to say the other word. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, back then they had the special classes. So they had special ed where if you had a disability, you were in a special cluster where you were.
They also had a special needs class too. That was different.
They had that.
Ed was a little different. That was supposed to be for kids.
Right, but they had a wing. They had a whole wing for them. So based on where you went into school, so this is how it was broken down, right? And this is what we learned when you learned to school, right? Mm-hmm. If you were in a certain cluster, we knew you were West Indian. They would mix you in with a little bit of American, but if you were English speaking and you you at least know English, and your classes are built around this curriculum. If you were speaking Spanish, you were in a different cluster, but they mixed you in with a little bit of thing. But all your classes are based around Spanish classes. And if you had a special abilities, you were in a different wing. And trust me, that's how the system was designed. Because you would never run into the, you know what I'm saying, all the Spanish speak. Yo, we went to Fox Middle and they had Spanish speaking students, and we didn't run into them because they were on a different floor.
Yeah.
And they had their own, you know what I'm saying?
I see them at lunch.
Exactly. You won't see them at lunch, but it's like this. All my classes were like all black kids. Yeah, you're going to have the 1 and 2 Spanish speakers that were fluent in English and they ain't speak a lick of Spanish. Yeah, you're going to see Sophia in there, but you ain't going, she don't speak Spanish, so we don't consider her Spanish. She American. You know what I'm saying? But that's how it was. We used to always like, yo, how you Spanish and you don't know Spanish? You know what I'm saying? We used to always like, how you Spanish and don't know how to speak Spanish?
Yeah.
So we used to always like, nah, I understand it, I don't speak it.
Because then the thing is too, a lot of them don't teach their kids Spanish because they want to be a part of this culture.
Yeah,
like
I've seen
that try to hide it. Yeah.
But the thing is, the question is, what I kind of touched on earlier was, yo, not all Spanish. You got black people that speak Spanish.
Yeah.
You got a lot of black people that speak Spanish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, grandma came here speaking Spanish. You know, a lot of people in the islands, a lot of people, black people in South America. You know, I got a couple of those videos I got to do, man. But there's tons of black people around the world. And they traveling, yeah.
You got a Caribbean in the island. There's all black people like us, and what they speak there is only Spanish. They're black and they speak Spanish. They're not like Dominicans or nope. They're just like us, and they speak only Spanish. I'm like,
they got some of them that speak just French.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But yeah, I mean that's how the world has been, man. We got put in places from all over the world, conquered by countries that spoke different language and had to learn that, you know?
Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. So I think the school is a play. I think the teacher is onto something, but like I just came to the conclusion she did break for the FERPA rule. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm thinking she wrote that FERPA rule because that's that one class that you got to read about. Well, the program, because you got to go through FERPA every year. I go through it every year. You know what I'm saying? It's about giving out information. So I definitely think she broke that FERPA rule. Could guarantee that.
Yeah, we're gonna land that one there.
Definitely. So, you want to say any socials?
Nah. Teapot Cove. Teapot Cove, and you know, Teapot Cove on everything.
Definitely. So you got the Black Diaspora channel where he goes around the region showing about Black diaspora in Scotland and other places. And if you do have some places that you would like him to record, send us an email, put it in the chat, hit him up on P-Code, let him know, hey, I'm looking for this video. Also,
let us know where the black cousins at, where you at around the world.
Definitely. Also, you can find us on Tuesdays and Thursdays where we have a panel show called Late Night Lime. If you'd like to be part of that panel, just go ahead and hit us up in the bio. I got a WhatsApp group there where you could just kind of click the link and it'll bring you to the thing, and we'll just kind of vet you out, make sure we dealing with real people before the show start. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to be part of it, hit us up. That's Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's Eastern. We're on the East Coast. So hit us up and we make it happen. But definitely thank you guys. We're out. Peace.
Peace out.